Namaste. I'm Dr. Robert. And today, on this edition of 5-ish Minutes with Dr. Robert, my subject is the Navanatha, the 9 Naths. The group of 9, of course, groups are very popular in South Asian culture, and the group of Naths has been fixed at 9, even though there are different enumerations, different lists of who those 9 Naths are. What the Naths are, according to Vimalananda, is a group of immortal yogis who are engaged in doing good things for all sentient beings. It would appear, as has been the case with other such groups, that the individual stories of the various Naths developed in different places, and it was only later that the various stories started to become collected together, and people started to think of them as a group of 9. Of the 9 Naths, the 2 that are best known are Matsyendra or Matsyendra and Gorakshanath or Gorakshanath. And there are many stories of these that appear in many different parts of India with slight variations here and there. Originally, all of the Naths were regarded as being devotees of Shiva, Hatha yogis, strong yogis doing difficult penance, all related to Shiva. And Matsyendra is regarded as being the first of all the Naths, and according to, depending on which version you're reading, somehow or another, he ended up in the womb of a fish, or in the belly of a fish. He was in the fish. And the fish happened to be well positioned at a moment when Shiva was teaching Parvati about the nature of reality. And the fish, or rather Matsyendra, listening carefully from the fish, heard this initiation, this diksha, this transmission from Shiva to Parvati, and was himself enlightened. And Shiva and Parvati suddenly noticed that in their field there was this enlightened being, and they looked down and they noticed that it happened to be in the middle of this fish, and they started communicating, and Matsyendra said, "Thank you very much for enlightening me. I did not even know I was in the fish, and you happened to show up according to my prarabdha karma. What a great thing." And Shiva said, "Yes, it is a great thing, and please go and benefit all sentient beings." And off he went. The story of the birth of Goraksha or Gorakshanath is again varied according to different accounts. The account that I like suggests that Matsyendra gave some activated ash, sometimes called vibhuti, to a pious woman and said, "Please eat this vibhuti. You will become pregnant. You have not been able to become pregnant so far. You will become pregnant. You will have a wonderful child. I will come back in 12 years to check on him." And the woman was very excited, and she went to talk to her friends, and they said, "Oh my God, a Nath yogi has given you this. Probably he is going to take you over, and it's going to disturb your mind, and you're going to become his sex slave." And then she said, and so she took the ash and threw it into the corner of the cowshed and made sure that lots of cow dung landed on top of it. And so 12 years later, Matsyendra comes and looks for his son and talks to the woman who explains that she didn't have the guts to take it herself, and it must be in the cowshed, and that's 12 years ago. Matsyendra said that ash had to give birth to a child, and then he went there and found Gorakshanath, who was 12 years old, under a giant pile of cow dung. And this is possibly why that word go, which means sense organ and also cow, why there is that connection with Gorak. In any event, Matsyendra and Gorak have a number of interactions. Jalandharanath is also involved. And the version of the Nath stories that I personally am fondest of is one called the Navnath Bhakti Sara, which was written in Maharashtra 250 years ago, and depicts the 9 Naths not as yogis who are tantrics dedicated to Shiva, but yogis who are actually incarnations of Narayana, of Vishnu, who have come down to earth specifically to become yogis who are devotees of Shiva, even though they are Vishnu incarnate, to benefit all sentient beings. It's kind of like their 9 avatars, 9 special avatars of Vishnu for the modern world. In any event, the stories of the Navanaths have guided and benefited people in South Asia for many, many years. And we salute the Naths and pray that they will always give us their guidance and protection. Alak Niranjan.